Hi everyone, my name is Sandy Swamdwini and welcome to my channel. This channel is about simplifying tax for individuals as well as small businesses. If that is something that you are interested in, then I would suggest that you subscribe and hit the notification button so that you know whenever I upload a video, so that you don't miss out on anything. Now, tax season is starting very soon. It starts on the 1st of July. And I get a lot of questions from people throughout the year. And today I just want to answer some of the questions that people ask me. And obviously clarify a lot of things for people. So I think I'm going to title this video, How Income Tax Works. And that is now for individuals in South Africa. I'm not going to include businesses on this one. I'll do a separate video for that one. This is now how income tax works. How income tax works for individuals in South Africa, right? Okay. Now, the very first question that people ask is, should I be paying tax? Now, if you are earning an income such as a salary or a wage, or you're a commission earner, or you're an independent contractor, or you are earning investment income such as rental income, interest, dividends, then yes, you should be paying tax. Okay, you should be paying tax. In South Africa, according to the law, anyone who earns an income should be paying tax. And yes, there are thresholds. There is an amount in which you can start paying tax in. What I'm going to do at the description of this video, I am going to attach the tax tables which show you from what salary or what income should you start paying tax. And I want to caution you that that is just for people who are employed full-time. This is now for your salary or for your wage. When it comes to interest, dividends, and all of that stuff, then it's a different story. With interest, I know right now we're sitting at about 24,000 something, which is exempt in interest. If you are earning a lot more than that, then you will need to be paying tax on it. I will also write the exact amount on my description box. Okay, so those are the people that should be paying tax. And also, guys, remember, I want to emphasize, if you are earning these incomes and you're a South African tax resident, now this means that even if you are earning this income and it's from the United States of America, or it's from Dubai, or it's from Australia, if you are a South African tax resident, then you need to be paying tax on that income. Yes, there are situations whereby you can get exempt. There are ways to go about it to get an exemption, but obviously even there you need to qualify for those exemptions, and and if you're in that situation, then you should just speak to your tax practitioner to see what exemptions you qualify for if you earn an income from abroad. Okay, right. Now the second question that I'm going to answer is, how do I register for tax? Okay. What people don't know is that when you register yourself on e-filing, you automatically get an income tax number. People don't know this because SARS recently introduced it. By that I mean, I think it's a year or 2 years by now, that you can just go register on e-filing and get a tax number. And most people don't know, because the way to register for income tax at SARS, except for the old way of going to the branch, it's changed a lot. For instance, when I registered for income tax, I was in varsity and I had a job. I was working at a retail store when I was in varsity, and our boss simply gave us a phone and said that we should phone SARS. We gave SARS our names and ID numbers. The call center agent gave us a tax number. It was that simple. And I wish SARS had just continued to, well, in fact, I don't think it's the safest way to do it now thinking about it. But then it was that simple to get a tax number back in the day. And then unfortunately it changed. You had to go into the branch. You had to bring all those documents, your IDs and all those things in order to register. But then again, SARS introduced another simpler form, which is registering on e-filing, which I think is brilliant. And I think it's mostly important for people who are job seeking. I know a lot of people who are job seeking who are always asked by their employers to get their tax numbers. Guys, you don't need to go to SARS. You don't need to go to SARS. If you already have a tax number, then you need to phone or SMS or whatever the case. But if you don't have a tax number, then just go register on e-filing. SARS will automatically generate a tax number for you, and then you will get your tax number. Okay, and also branches are closing from tomorrow, which is the 1st of July. So you can't go to the branch anyway right now. So you need to familiarize yourself with these platforms. It's very important. You need to do it. If you do choose to wait till the branch is open in order to get a tax number, things that you would have to take to the branch in order to register and get a tax number is your proof of address. SARS is very picky, guys, when it comes to proof of addresses. I'll say if I can't leave a link on my comments of where you can get the proof of addresses that SARS accepts. They only accept certain proof of addresses, not everything, not just any proof of address. So I'll leave a link below. But also, I think last year or the year before, SARS said that if you have a proof of address on your bank account or your proof of banking details, and that address is a physical address, then you don't need a separate address. In other words, if your proof of banking details that you're going to be taking to SARS in order to open a bank account is a street address, then you don't need to bring an additional proof of address. This is something as tax practitioners we've been fighting for years because it didn't make sense. The bank statement, and the bank is a reliable place, has the proof of address, but you still want someone to bring a separate proof of address, which is not the bank statement. So SARS gave in, or they agreed and said that, okay, fine, if your proof of address is a physical address on the bank statement, then you don't need a separate proof of address. But if it is a PO box, unfortunately, you need to provide proof of your physical address. And I will leave a link on my description box of what kind of proof of addresses SARS accepts. So you need your proof of address, you need your ID, and I always advise people to bring a copy that is certified as well. That's not older than 3 months. Same with your proof of banking details. You need to make sure that if it's a bank letter, in other words, your account is new and therefore you can't get a 3-month bank statement, that bank letter mustn't be older than a month. If it's a 3-month bank statement, then that 3 months bank statement mustn't be older than 3 years. Just make sure. So those are the things that you need to take to the branch when you're opening, when you want to register for income tax. But then at the moment, from the 1st of July, the branches will be closed. So I think the best option for you would be e-filing. And the nice thing about e-filing is after you've registered, you can just get a proof of income tax on there, a nice letter that you can print. I might have already answered this one. This one is, how do I get my tax number? One, on e-filing, on the mobile app, or you can SMS SARS on 47277. You can call the call center. The next question I'm going to answer, do I need to submit my tax return? Now, for this one, you can go to my tax tips, which is a video I've just uploaded for the 2021 taxes and tips. I have spoken about this broadly. Basically, every year SARS issues a threshold for the people that don't need to submit. Like I've said in that video, if you've been submitting, I would advise you to continue submitting for the reasons that I've stated. Or if you're a new person who just got a job and you're still under that threshold, then I wouldn't say bother yourself by submitting unless you have deductions such as medical aid, retirement funds and whatnot. So if you have deductions, always submit, even if you are under the threshold. Very important. How do I pay if I owe SARS? Again, there are First of all, if you don't know whether or not you owe SARS, what you can do is you can go to e-filing and do a query of your account, or you can SMS again, or you can go to the mobile app. Make use of these digital platforms, guys. Yes, it might be daunting in the beginning, but then they're really helpful. And even after the pandemic has gone, I mean, you don't want to be going to the branch queuing for things that you can get while you're sitting at home. So make use of these platforms. And SARS is trying their best to actually simplify them. And they are really. So it's not as daunting. Just try and make use of them. Now, like I said, you can use an SMS, or you can request a statement on e-filing to see whether or not you owe SARS. Now, how can you pay if you owe SARS? You can pay by EFT. You can pay at ABSA, at Capitec, at FNB, at Netbank, and at Standard Bank. Very, very important, guys, when you're paying by EFT or at ABSA and whatnot. In other words, when you're using all the other platforms that are not e-filing to pay, please make sure you use the right reference. And for the people who are registered for the different types of taxes, say for instance, you're a sole trader and you have income tax and you have VAT and you have pay as you earn, please make sure you use the right reference for the correct tax types. It's a nightmare when a person pays income tax using the pay as you earn reference, pay income tax using the VAT reference. Trying to correct that and liaising with SARS is a big nightmare. So if you are unsure, rather call the SARS call center or ask someone, but make sure you use the right reference when you are paying at SARS. And you also find that sometimes there's money, people get harassed by SARS, whereas there's money sitting in their accounts, but SARS can't allocate those amounts because they don't know what they're for, because the incorrect reference was used. Even the reference for income tax and provisional tax, even though they are the same things, are different, guys. So you need to make sure you use the correct reference, especially for provisional tax, because once you use the incorrect reference, SARS takes it that you didn't pay, and provisional tax penalties are, they're bad. They are really bad. You don't want to have a provisional tax penalty. You cannot make a payment at the branch. They don't accept payments at the branch. They don't accept checks. They don't accept nothing. No kind of payment is made at the branch. So you cannot pay at the SARS branch, guys, at all, at all, at all. E-filing at the bank, EFT, yeah. Now, something else is, especially when people are upset and they're owing SARS and whatnot, they always ask, what if I don't pay SARS? Well, firstly, don't do it. Do not do it. Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. If you do not pay SARS, guys, the interest, like owing SARS is like owing the bank. The interest will just keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And then also what happens as well, guys, is should you, for whatever reason, be in a position where you need SARS to help you with maybe with writing off admin penalties and whatnot, they're not going to agree if you haven't been someone who's compliant in the past. So it's always good to make sure that you are on the good side of SARS. And I can understand in a spell for the moment, like when you owe SARS, it's not nice, it's bad, it's upsetting. But then you need to make sure that if you can't pay that debt immediately, you need to make sure that you make an arrangement with SARS. Okay. Now, there are two arrangements you can make with SARS when you owe them and you cannot pay. One of them is an installment agreement. This is now when you say, okay, SARS, I owe 10,000 Rand, but I don't have that cash right now. May I pay 2,000 Rand a month for 5 months? And SARS says, it's fine. But then obviously that's a process that you need to apply for and whatnot. If you need help with that, I do offer services in that. Debt management services, and then I do the application for you. It's quite a lengthy process. It's annoying because SARS will want to see, they will want you to prove that indeed you are unable to pay for that debt at once. And installment agreements, SARS normally issues them with no problems. But then, very important, you need to make sure that you stick to the agreement, or else SARS will, if you default, then SARS will demand their money immediately. Then another agreement that you can do is called, it's an installment agreement, and then there's also another one whereby you can ask SARS to write off the debt. I have a video on these. I'll attach the video on the description box. So this is now when you ask SARS to write off your debt. SARS does do this, guys, if you are unable to pay. But then they always first make sure that you really are unable to pay. They will ask for your assets, for all your bank accounts. If you have people that owe you, they will ask, which is your debtors, they will ask for all of those. So they need to make sure that they can prove that you are bankrupt, and therefore you can't pay for the debt. And the reason they do that, guys, it's not because they wanna, obviously they wanna help you or whatever the case, but they don't want to invest in resources trying to retrieve money from you when they know they're not gonna be able to get it. In other words, they don't want to spend any more money trying to get money out of you, knowing very well that they're not going to be able to get it. So also, that's also another application that you do with SARS. In all my experience as a tax practitioner, I've done 2 of those, and only 1 of them was accepted by SARS. I've done 2 of those applications, and only 1 of them was accepted by SARS. The other one, the guy had some, even though he didn't have any money, he had a boat that he was left by his great-grandparents or something like that. But this guy had a boat, and literally that was the only asset that they had, and SARS said that he must sell it to pay. It was very sad. But anyway, so those are the 2 things that options you have if you're unable to pay SARS immediately. And guys, it doesn't help for you to not take the calls with any other debt. In fact, it doesn't help if you don't take the calls, if you ignore and whatnot. It's just not gonna go away, and it's just gonna make things worse for you. Now, one other thing SARS that can do when you owe them money is they can go to a third party that owes you money. In other words, say for instance you're a business, you owe SARS R1 million, and you have a debtor sitting in your books for 1.2 million. SARS can approach the debtor directly and retrieve their R1 million from your 1 million. They can do that. Yes, serious. So watch out. SARS can approach a third party to get their money from you. What if I don't agree with SARS about what I owe? There's options. If you don't agree with what you owe, what SARS is saying you owe them, you can lodge a dispute. Now, there's different types of dispute. One of them, a request for reasons. This one normally happens when you submit an income tax return and maybe SARS disallows something. For instance, maybe SARS doesn't accept your out-of-pocket medical expenses. You can do what you call a request for reasons. This now normally happens. This is now where you ask SARS, why didn't you allow my out-of-office expenses? Okay, you can do that. And then if you are still unhappy, you can do what you call an objection. And if you are still unhappy with the outcome of the objection, you can appeal. Now, a request for a reason and an objection, they're not that complicated, even though I always advise people to consult someone who knows about tax so that they quote the right act and whatnot. And also so that they also write the same codes, because in tax you have codes, right? For instance, for gross income, it's 3601. So maybe approach someone to do that for you. I do help with disputes, and I charge it on an hourly basis, because you can't really tell how a dispute is going to go depending on what a dispute is. But again, I still think that for a request for reasons and objections, I believe an ordinary person who doesn't have a tax background, with a little learning and whatnot, and the Googling and looking at the SARS website, you can still do that yourself. However, when it comes to an appeal, I don't advise people to do it themselves. The reason for this is when SARS brings their people, their lawyers. When you're appealing, SARS brings their lawyers. That's where you should also bring your professional people. This is where you need to, if it was a court case, I would say this is where you bring your lawyer in and stop representing yourself. So with an appeal, I always advise people to go with a professional if they're going to do an appeal, or consult a professional. So those are the options available if you don't agree with SARS. The disputes, you do a request for reasons, you do an appeal, and I suppose if you're unhappy with the appeal, then you would have to, from the appeal, it's tax court, constitutional court. Those are the big dogs, but I mean, by then you would need to have had lawyers and tax practitioners handling your stuff for you. And also, if there is a query, a service query that you're unhappy about, as I mentioned, you go to the ombud, tax ombud. Right. Now, guys, please note that this video is getting too long and I have not answered all the questions. I will do a second part to it, hopefully very soon. But all these ones that I've answered, I think they sort of help with the tax season that we are in now, so that people understand what to do and what not to do and what they can do. Yeah. Like I said, guys, I don't know if this was the video where I mentioned that I'm happy to answer general questions, but you can't now start sending me your passwords and stuff and asking me to check if your returns are correct. I have clients that pay for that service, so it's not fair for them. And again, if you want more of this content, please subscribe and share. Please subscribe and share. Please subscribe and share. And thank you. Leave your questions in comments. I will answer as soon as I can. Thank you.